shaking, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Mansplaining, the show where two old guys try to give advice to the young versions of themselves. It's not exactly what people think it is. I understand that we did not pick the best name for this show, but I think it's still going to stick. I'm Dave Germain. With me, as always,
I'm Jacob. What's up, guys? I'm Jacob Hamill.
hey, that's
Hey,
right, his. Yeah, it's so funny because I've had folks that are like, I understand what you're trying to do, but maybe that isn't the best name, for your show
whatever.
because people look it's kind of toxic and they're like, yeah, no, this is the reason why what the fuck is trying to call me? I don't know who you pro finance, so that might as well be scam likely as far as I'm concerned. Uh, I remember I was talking to my cousin Jim about this, and I'm looking at my friend Monica was kept sending me these episodes of these podcasts about men's feelings and stuff and men's self help and shit. Kind of the same stuff that we're doing, the same stuff we're talking about, but in a different way. And I was telling my cousin that there was this really beautiful moment of this breakthrough between this father and son, and they're talking about like, how he wished he would have been more open and more honest and stuff like that with his son when he was growing up, but there was a reason why because he was working through his own stuff, and it was really really touching. The thing is both of these dudes looked like they were working on the latte counter at whatever bookstore. Like they had the fucking sensitive ponytail guy thing going, and they
Yeah,
were both just kind of they're I won't even call them intellectual. I'll just say soft, right? And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that is if there's like the guy like Clint Eastwood, that would be considered a hard guy. Soft would be the exact opposite of Clint Eastwood. Now, the reason why I thought of it, one of my thoughts were going into the show was is that what those guys were talking about was super freaking important. But if you're a young kid growing up and you were raised to be like a Clint Eastwood type, a hard dude, you're
yeah,
probably not going to want to listen to these soft guys because they're balling into each other's arms and stuff, which is a touching moment. But the thing is that I know men, and so do you, is that most guys don't want to listen to a guy that they might consider weaker, and they're not going to take advice from. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So that doesn't necessarily mean just because you're an intellectual or you don't bench 500 pounds doesn't mean that you're weak. I mean, is that if you don't portray some type of strength, whether it's intellectual, creative, physical, leadership, all that other type of things that radiate, because we all know strength comes in different forms and fashions. But I'm going to hit the record button like a genius for the audio thing. Uh, if they don't have if they don't exude some type of strength, the chances are some guys, some meatheads who need to listen to that lesson, they're not going to want to listen to them. So
yeah,
that's why I don't shy away from the broiness of this show or the meathead esque philosophy because that's
yeah,
the type of dudes we are. And hopefully we can probably we can give some advice to the young fellas out there like maybe don't wait outside of your girlfriend's job till she gets off because you're pissed off and you want to talk to her right then and there.
yeah,
That might be a bad idea. Let's see if a girl doesn't want to see you anymore. Maybe don't call her 15 times in a row,
yeah.
and
No, no,
just to make
no.
sure that she doesn't want to talk to you. That might be a
Yeah,
bad thing. These are all fucking things that I have done, by the way, and I'm not proud of it. But I say these things because we talk about these things because we don't want the guys to feel ashamed of doing something stupid. Like, yeah, we
yeah.
all regret stuff. We all learn from it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Like, so many dudes that I know, like, dude, they've done dumb shit, and a lot of them bottle it up. So it's like,
Oh yeah,
so and because they don't want to admit to it, because it goes back to comedy. Like, as far as like what I like when I would talk to comedians, right, in Denver and stuff. They want to talk about the great times, like, oh, I crushed this room, I crushed that room.
hmm.
Where I want to talk about the time that I almost got beat up in Colorado Springs because the whole crowd hated me.
Yeah,
I find that funny. I find
right.
that funny, and I find it insightful because it shows like what kind of person you are in like the worst possible moment.
Mm,
Anybody can be awesome when it's like the winds at your back and you're doing great.
right.
I want to see what kind of person you are when shit's like piling up on you and you don't know what the fuck to do and you're freaking out and you don't think, you just react, and then all of a sudden you're fucked, and now you do dumb, impulsive shit because you're not thinking,
Right.
you know, and that's what happens. That's happened to me a bunch. I mean, but also like what you said about the advice thing about that. There was this guy that I used to work with. This goes back to when. like I just this is before I started doing before I did my mushroom stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and this is back when I was still like fucking just my roommate said it the best. He goes, "You're really like relaxed about certain things, but but certain other things
Oh
will
yeah.
fucking just take you fucking just blow you up. Like you
Yeah.
fucking can't like you just scream about it." And he goes, "I don't know which one's which." He goes, "I got a feeling like I could accidentally hit your car and you'd be fine, but if I used all your ketchup, you'd yell at
Right.
me." So it's like, and I understand that, but I was really bad like a couple years ago, 3, 4 years ago, real fucking bad. Like I would just fucking just start. I mean, if I was having a bad day and something else happened, dude, I'd fucking flip the fuck out on people. And
Yeah,
there was this one,
I
yeah,
remember
there,
that.
yeah, there was this one time. This is like one of the times that it kind of clicked. That maybe this is not making me look good.
Right.
Uh, we had a we had to deliver to this old fuck who was just a miserable old fuck, just an old dude, lived in one of those like fucking welfare housing systems and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to get deliveries from us, and he used to get like 7 cases of Bud Light, and he would get like 3 or 4 handles of like Kentucky Deluxe,
Mm.
like the fucking plastic
Yeah.
squirt jug, fucking whiskeys you buy in the bottom shelf, like $7 for a handle.
Right. It's
So
like Costco whiskey.
yeah, the Costco whiskey's like fucking like Ace of Spades champagne compared to fucking this shit.
Right.
But anyway, so they accidentally sent me out with Budweiser instead of Bud Light or vice versa, right? So I get there, the guy yells at me. I come back because I gotta get the new order, and I'm fucking furious that someone fucked up. Like I'm mad as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking yelling at this person. I'm yelling at that person. Like, what the fuck? How could you fucking do this? What the? I'm just yelling at people.
Yeah.
And there's one guy, Justin, who was always kind of like he was quiet. Like he was a front end manager. He was always kind of quiet. He didn't really bug anybody. Didn't really do. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't the kind of guy you would be like afraid to fight if you had to. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. And probably should be because he's after seeing some shit that he went through being a front end manager there, man, he could take a fucking punch.
Oh,
He's been hit a couple times. One homeless dude hit him in the head with a fucking Maker's Mark bottle. He was
Jesus.
trying to steal it, and he fucking took it like a champ, dude. Just fucking didn't even just shook it off and fucking ran right after
Just
him.
looked at him and be like, what? I'm like, oh shit. Sometimes
Yeah,
that's the scariest thing when somebody you hit somebody and they just look at you like,
yeah,
was that it?
that's
Like,
yeah. You're fucked now. But so at one point I'm yelling at people, and we had like cooler doors, kind of like walk-in doors, so like
mhm.
like a freezer or a cooler, like in restaurants. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like those doors, those big heavy doors. So and it opened inward, not outward. So I fucking walk up and I just kick the motherfucker wide open, just kick it open with no regard about if there's anyone behind it.
Mhm.
I just fucking kicked that fucking door wide
Done
open.
that before. Luckily, nobody got hurt. Yeah.
The same here, but like that dude Justin was like behind me when I did it, and I'm grabbing the shit that I need. I'm fucking doing it like in a pissed off manner,
Right.
and he looks at me and goes, "Hey man, like why can't I always just go off like that all the time?" And I'm like, "What are you fucking talking about, dude? I was not in the mood."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you fucking talking about, man?" He goes, "Yeah, man. Whenever you like got a hair crust rash, you just fucking start yelling at everybody. It's really uncomfortable. Nobody likes it." And that's all he said.
Right.
And I was like, and at that point, I kind of stopped and was like, "Fuck, am I the angry dude
Yeah.
that you work with?"
Uh,
Fuck. Like I was like, "Oh no!" It hit me like a ton of bricks. And then like about a week later, I did mushrooms with. I think that was the night of my birthday, 2 years ago, about two
mm,
years ago. And I was sitting. It was one of the thoughts that kept going around in my head when I was like on the mushrooms. I was like just fucking staring at a tree, listening to Anthony Armstrong fucking rant and rave about stupid bullshit.
yeah.
But
That
like it
was
was
weird.
like stop.
Mushrooms seem to have the opposite effect of calming somebody down with him.
Oh
I
yeah,
got
no, yeah,
I gotta ask him. I'm like, dude, it seems like this fucking like turned the fire up to like 9 with you, and you're just like fucking. You went off on everybody, but yeah,
yeah, yeah. But that conversation like rung in my head. And then ever since then, I was like, I need to make sure that I know how to like control this. Like, I'm never going to get rid of it. That's just part of the deal.
right,
I mean, that's just how I'm wired. But at the same time, like, I got to know how to like not make shit bad for no fucking reason.
right.
And that's what I was doing. And that conversation stuck with me for like, I don't know, 6, 7 months.
should tell that dude,
You
like,
know?
dude, I stopped punching old ladies in the face because of you. You should
Yeah,
thank you
man.
very much. Like, you know what? The money that I saved on bail, oh my God, dude. Like, I bought a new car. Like, so
Yeah,
literally, I'm going to start a
yeah,
no restaurant here the next month or so. That's how much money I've saved since
yeah.
I stopped hitting old ladies. Uh,
But I felt real bad about it, like because he wasn't wrong, and he had
yeah,
every right to say that. He had every right to say that to me. I couldn't argue it. None of that. I had to like sit there and kind of like listen to him. And when he said that, I was like, ugh. Like, it wasn't, the fuck can I say? No,
yeah,
you're wrong. As I'm in the middle of having a freak out. Like,
yeah.
so yeah, that doesn't work.
That
So,
shit'll
but yeah,
happen. Yeah, it's it's really weird when you're especially angry and you feel justified. That's like the worst
oh
place
yeah,
to be in because you'll just start saying, "I've let some horrible shit come out of my mouth when I was really really pissed," and slammed some things around when I was working in restaurants. Like my mom and I went to lunch today, and it's funny as we're talking, I go like, I can't be in. I don't think I can work in restaurants anymore just because it's like my patience is no longer there. Like
yeah,
if I'm waiting tables and stuff, like when somebody was trying to be an ass or they're gonna take their day out on me, I can't wait to take my day out on them just because I'm gonna have a great story for this. I'm gonna go to an open mic later and talk about it, and it's gonna be great, and it's gonna be awesome. And then she's like, "What about managing?" I'm like, "I have less patience with people when I'm managing." Like,
yeah,
and unfortunately, I do both of those things really well, but I can't really do stuff right now, so it all works. But uh,
yeah.
it is it is strange, man. Being humble, like the best thing about like as a guy, you think that your anger and your strength is your best weapon, is your best tool. When really that's the thing that's gonna hold you back. It's like ego is like, well, it can help you, but more than likely it's probably not. And you're like,
Yeah.
shit. How do you like learn to not trust something that keeps telling you to trust it all the time? You know what I mean?
Yep. I
Uh,
mean, it's the whole. That's when I started like really like kind of looking into like Carl Jung
mm-hmm.
and all that, like that kind of philosophy and stuff. And like, yeah, it's the death of the ego. Like you got to kind of kill the ego off because that's what gets you in trouble a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like that. How dare you smite me like this?
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, it's like this guy probably has no fucking idea what he did. Like he cut you off in traffic. He probably has no idea.
Yeah.
You know, or he's probably in a huge rush because like something's happening at his house and he's gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then so for you to get mad at him, it's just I don't know. It's just I just kind of look at people now and just go, especially here in Arizona with like the road rage and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I see someone driving erratically, I'm just like, I try to get the fuck away from them. Where can I be where if this goes south, I'm not involved in it,
Right.
and B, like what just doesn't affect me. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna get mad over it.
I'm gonna
I
be
might
honest
joke
with you. I
around,
am
be like,
surprised there's not more homicides on the freeway in
yeah,
Arizona, because it's an open carry state. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So like I've seen friggin' douchebags walk around with friggin' pistols on their side, like friggin' like a cowboy or something. I'm like, I don't know why you're doing that, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they just watched a lot of Fox News and they saw one too many Mexicans in a neighborhood. They're like, shit, I got to be strapped and let everybody know. Because there's dumb shit like that happens in some of the
yeah,
neighborhoods that I've lived in back in Arizona. Uh, but yeah, like I remember in LA, road rage got really bad in the early 90s because that was just like a thing they kept talking about. And then they're like, another freeway shooting, shooting on the freeway here in LA. So eventually people got tired, like, oh, you're going to cut me off. And then they just start freaking unloading clips or magazines into somebody else's car and stuff. And then um, those stories lasted for about a summer. And then it kind of went away. And I don't know if people started becoming more, they weren't nicer. I think they just understood there was a consequence to freaking yelling and screaming at somebody that they don't know. Like New Yorkers, and I'm sure folks in Boston know this, is like if you're going to start talking shit to somebody on the street, you've opened the door to an ass whooping. So you're either
yeah,
going to kick somebody's ass and go to jail, right? Possibly for the rest of your life, because you never know what can happen, or you're gonna get your ass kicked, and like five other people who just happen to be having a bad day that were walking along and saying, "Oh, that guy's being an asshole." Oh, it's interesting. Hold on. And they're gonna
yeah.
fucking take their day out on you, and then you're gonna go to the hospital and probably not have your life won't be the same. There's always that level of like shit's gonna go bad, and I think when folks live in an environment where they don't think that shit's ever gonna happen, they could lull themselves into a false sense of security. At least
Yeah.
that's what
No,
I've been thinking about.
there's still shootings here, like on the highway. I see at least 2 or 3 stories a month about it.
Oh, really?
A guy that I work with actually, he has a like a Dodge pickup truck,
Mm-hmm.
and I was outside smoking a butt one day, and I look at his fucking the tail like the bed of his truck,
Mm-hmm.
and on the back fender, there's like 2 holes, and they're definitely fucking bullet holes.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yo, what the fuck? Someone shot at you? And he looks at me and goes, yeah, it happens. I'm like, no.
There's more to that story. He's like,
Yeah, there's totally yeah. And this is also a guy who likes to liberally drop the N bomb.
oh,
So if I'm guessing, is that somebody brown cut him off,
right.
or he cut someone brown off.
Yeah,
They honked their horn, gave him the finger or something,
right.
and then he probably like looked at him like we're all driving, like looked back or like was parallel with him and just yelled. He called him the N word,
Right.
and they were just like, all right,
Right.
pop, 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 and then just fucking drove away, which that's very Arizona.
I don't know this guy, but I feel like I
Huh?
know that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've met there's a certain type of white guy that is really really proud of being as dumb as shit as possible. Like
Yeah.
he's really really proud of it. Like he actually worked towards it, even though he didn't actually work for it. He just decided to be a dumb shit his whole life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like I don't care, whatever, doesn't matter to me. And I'm like, oh, you think you're brave? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
Until they get the shit knocked out of them, and then they just have the sad look on their face like a puppy that just shit on the floor, and you rub their nose in it, because it's weird. It's like that's what they were expecting to happen. That's what they wanted to happen, and now they just go back and then like, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't fucking matter to me, man. I'll say what I want. Fuck that. And I'm like, Jesus, man. It's weird. It's like you have an opportunity when you come into this world, you know, to make the most out of it. Like, to quote my friend Pete Augusto, he was like, Dave, it's like you went into the Mexican food restaurant of life and you ordered the bean and cheese burrito. That's what you fucking did, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. You got to do better than that, man. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, shit. And they're like, yeah, that's what I feel like. There's some folks that just like, they just stopped learning at the age of like 9 and they said, nope, whatever, I don't care. And they just kind of like shrugged their shoulders and ignored everybody else. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that guy, but I feel like I know that guy because that story that you tell reminds me of like similar stories that other guys like that I know have told me.
No, I mean like living here, like that's never been a. I mean, as far as other ethnic groups, that doesn't bother me. It
Right.
never it never really has to begin with, but even living here, like this is the way I've always saw it is like how stupid it is to like yell at somebody who doesn't look like us
Yeah.
to like go back to your country. The reason why I find that dumb is because okay, there is a scenario, right? There's a scenario where this could be a true thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how the Gadsden Purchase, which is basically all of like South Arizona that was bought like I think a year or two before the Civil War.
Mm.
It's called the Gadsden Purchase. It was
Okay.
like you know what I'm saying that like that one. It not to me.
I'm not
It was
familiar with it. What was it?
okay. So it was a part of land. It was about like the bottom third of Arizona, and it was purchased after the Spanish American War, like after we beat Mexico.
Oh,
I'm sorry, the Mexican American War.
right.
After we beat Mexico and took like all of the West,
Right.
from them, we then turned around and bought that little sliver of land that's like south, like near Bisbee and shit, like
Okay.
that part of like Arizona.
Gotcha.
And I think Tucson's part of that. We
Well,
bought that from Mexico. That was like the final part of the puzzle of the United States. Like
oh,
that was the part that made it all what it is now.
okay.
So so that was only like what 150, 170 years ago, right?
Right.
There's probably a scenario where a family of Mexican descent has never left the town, the house they grew up in.
Right.
It's been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've never left. Now, when they had the house at first, it was Mexico.
Right.
Now it's not anymore, right? So these people could like legitimately exist. They've never left. They've always been here.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone who looks like me is going to look at them and go back to your country. It's like,
Right.
motherfucker, I've been here the whole time. I've never left. Why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
That's So like you never know, you might run into that person, and for you to say something fucking ignorant as hell like that,
Oh yeah.
that's I mean, it's shitty when like not only you're ignorant, but you're also wrong, which I guess are both the same. But
Mm,
you know what I mean? Like
right.
you could yell at someone to go back to their country, and it's shitty and it's ignorant, but they might not be wrong. They're probably not from here.
Right.
Not defending that, but I'm just saying on a logical scale,
Right.
it's a shitty thing to do. But at least they kind of have a weird point, like they aren't from here.
Yeah.
But they've always been here. Like, and now you're gonna say something shitty like that. Like, you can't. That card's you can't play that card no more. It's gone.
You know what's weird is that like I can understand like first of all I think that being proud of being in one place for a long time or the place you grew up in is kind of weird, and it's kind of
Yeah.
lame because you really didn't do anything. It's not like you were. It's not like somebody asked you when you were a child, "Hey, do you want to still live here?" And you said, "No, I fucking like I'm all about New Hampshire. Let's stay here." You know, nobody asked you. It's you went wherever
No.
your parents went and said, "This is where we're fucking moving." You know what I mean? And
Yep.
so the folks who are like Colorado has a lot of this, guys. Where Colorado, there's a lot of guilty white people here, and so they say that like this is my opinion, by the way, where they're like, "Are you a native?" Like native to me means Native American.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then they're like, "Are you a native?" I'm like, "Do I look native? Like, I don't look anything I'm not native. You know, nobody could even guess my nationality, anyways. But like, it's definitely not native." I'm like, "Oh, I've
Yeah.
been living in Colorado my whole life." I'm like, "No, you're a fucking white guy. You're a fucking white guy. You're a white guy that's lived in Colorado, which, by the way, is a lot like every other white guy in Colorado. So there's nothing fucking special. All right. I mean, the coolest thing about Colorado, there's a lot of cool things, but let's be honest, the flag is fucking fire. That shit goes on like that goes on t-shirts great, that goes on hats, on bandanas and stuff. The color scheme for Colorado is fantastic. That flag is awesome and everybody loves to wear it around here. But it's about it. They're like, "Oh, I'm a native. I've been here." And I'm like, "Really? Because I moved here and I made this place better, so fuck off." What'd you do? Were you here when it sucked? Was that it? No. like
No. Yeah. Right.
it's uh it it's just it's really bizarre. It's funny what people will try to find to let me try to find something that I had no involvement in, and that way I could be proud of it. You know, it's kind
Yeah.
of like saying, I'm like, "Listen, man, I worked really hard to be this fat." Like, no, you didn't. You just didn't exercise and ate like shit.
Yeah.
That's all you were doing. You were being lazy. And I'm like, "No, I mean, it was special. It was born this way." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You just decided to eat ice cream all day and not exercise. There's a difference." So, it is. Sorry, go ahead.
It's kind of like that George Carlin joke where he talks about civic pride.
Yeah.
He goes, it's a stupid thing to me. He goes, it doesn't make any sense. Like, he goes, I'm 100% Irish. I don't have Irish pride.
Mm-hmm.
It's like saying like, I'm proud to be 5'11",
Yeah.
or I'm proud to have a disposition for colon cancer. No offense.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
No.
That's in the joke. That's the,
No, dude,
but like,
that's there was a funny bit like this past Sunday at the mic. By the way, Bear and I and Christine, we all miss you
oh,
at the fucking Sunday mics. And so Christine comes in and Christine was toastier than usual. And so she's drunk and everything and she's looking at me because I'm sitting in the front. She's like, "I can't tell if you really don't like what I'm saying or if it's the chemo, the side effects from the chemo." And I'm like, "Little column A, little column B." And she's like, "Haha." But it was a fun evening. But um, I'm glad to know that at least chemo jokes and cancer jokes are starting to float around. So the more I'm around the Denver comedy scene, I'm sure there'll be a lot of folks that'll be like, "Ha, cancer." Well, yeah, let's laugh at them
um,
now before I look like I have a shitload of cancer and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I,
I
you
mean, it's endearing to break balls like that.
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some young kid who I don't know that tries to come up and say something and be like, "Listen, you little fuck." But
Yeah. No. What was I going to say? Sorry. Go ahead. I was now the thought escaped my brain. My
no,
bad.
no, it's no problem. By the way, if you're listening to the audio of this on the podcast and stuff, good for you because you don't have to deal with like the pre-rolled commercials for the folks who listen to this on Twitch. So if you
Yeah.
go to mansplaining show mansplaining show dot twitch.tv, that's no twitch.tv / mansplaining show. Duh.
Yeah.
That's where you can follow us there on Twitch, and that way you get notified when we go live. And if you want to take part in the chat room, you're more than welcome to. Um, so one of the things that I was also considering about when we were talking about like ego and all this other shit is that I have to ask. I ask this of people that I see freaking going nuts online, And the reason why I hate it so much because probably I do the same thing. I just don't catch myself doing it. So I have this question for myself: is that am I being brave, or am I brave, or am I just entitled?
Okay.
Which I think is an important question that folks should probably ask themselves. Because like when I'm thinking about like I wanted to yell at somebody online and I'm like, am I being brave or am I just entitled because I don't like what they're saying and I want them to change it right now? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's kind of like, do I really have a dog in this race? Let me think about what it is, um like here's an example of stuff that's kind of driving me nuts. This might get us derailed and stuff, but there could be somebody that I really, really hate, right? And when it comes to skirting or abusing the way the law has changed, even if it's somebody that I hate and I think deserves to get punished, I know that this is going to bite the rest of us in the ass. You know what I mean? So, case in point, and first of all, I can't believe I have to say this, but in case somebody ever tries to take a freaking clip of this, I do not agree with fucking what Alex Jones said about the Sandy Hook parents. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody does. I don't think Alex Jones agrees with what he said back then. I think he was like, I definitely fucked up right there. I was taking a shitload of fucking oxys and shit. I was doing the Rush
What's the
Limbaugh route, being fucking drunk all day, and everybody's kissing my ass, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll say it. And
They should have at his trial. They should have played that clip from Joe Rogan where he goes, uh, uh, I'm a I'm a little retarded.
yeah, just to let you
Yeah,
know,
remember that?
just fucking Joe Rogan. Let me tell you something. The fucking elites. So okay, I don't agree with. I think that guy deserves to get punished, right? But when I see so many people cheering
Yeah,
online, I'm like, do you understand the fact that there was a lot of stuff that this dude did uncover that wasn't that didn't have anything
yep,
to do with him freaking like being saying horrific shit that any other media outlet right now is going to have a really really tough time because there's a precedent now is when you just start label everything conspiracy. You know what I mean? Like, I forgot what somebody else tweeted that like his insurance for being for his libel insurance is about to skyrocket once um, Alex Jones' verdict goes through. Which
yeah,
I was listening to an episode. Kim Iverson, who's a pretty good reporter, left leaning reporter and stuff, and she was talking about the verdict and how he's probably not going to get sued for as much as everybody thinks he is just because in Texas there's a limit on how much you could sue for on a civil case. You know what I mean? So it might be in the millions, but it's not going to be in the 50 millions or whatever. So I
no,
don't.
from what I heard, it was 49 and a half.
Yeah, but they're like
Yeah,
the Texas court might not be like, yeah, we don't actually, you can't sue anybody for that much for a civil case or for
yeah,
pain and suffering. There's a limit on it. Um, it'll still be a lot, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be the 49 million or whatnot. But the whole idea was is that like and I remember I pissed off somebody in a theater show that I was working on because I'm like, that's not good for any of us. And I'm like, they're like, excuse me, do you know what he said? I'm like, I know what he said. He deserves to get punished. But do you understand when anytime anybody gets freaking reprimanded for use of freedom of speech, even though this was like the shittiest version of freedom of speech that I could think of, next
yeah,
to being a freaking Nazi and screaming it out and across the street from a synagogue. Um, anytime somebody gets chastised for that, it's not going to go great for the rest of the artists, for the artist community. It's always going to come down on the people who are going to push against the edge of society and stuff. And I know
yep,
there's a lot of folks who are probably going to say like, dude, that's bullshit, man. Like fucking, you can't just hide behind freedom of speech just to defend somebody who's talking a bunch of shit. And I'm like, no, I get why people say that, but I'm also going to reach out and just start saying chances are the people who say that don't have anything important to say anyways. So, of course, it doesn't matter to them. Um,
yeah.
that's a shitty thing to say, by the way, but listen, I know, let's put it this way. If I said that to my cousin, I would be wrong. You know what I mean? So, uh, I don't know. Somebody's just, first time chat from viewer, play this song. No.
No, we don't play
Sorry,
songs.
Val.
We don't play songs, bro.
Exactly. The best I could do
plus,
is like freaking
plus,
lip
like
sync with my butt. That's about
it,
it.
it, it, if it's a song that's like copyright, dude, we play like a little bit of it, we're gonna pop and then we get a shit taken down. I
Yeah,
don't want to do that. I'm good.
exactly.
Uh,
I really need this thing. But so either way, there's things like that, right? There's the freaking FBI raid, which by the way, guys, thanks for galvanizing Trump to the GOP once again. We appreciate that.
yep,
That was really fucking great the way that you guys did that. Um, all the
which
folks
is
that
dumb.
cheered on by that, it basically just galvanized the rest of the people that freaking were thinking about voting Republican. They all just freaking went behind that dude. So I'm like,
Yeah,
God damn it, here we go again. It's gonna be 2024 is not gonna be a fun year.
yeah.
I
It's gonna
hope
be
he
wild.
doesn't run.
It's going to be wild because yeah, you're right about the Trump galvanizing because of this
mm,
fucking stupid fucking raid.
mm,
But there's also DeSantis who is like he is killing it in Florida. Like everyone loves him.
right.
Like his election for his reelection for governor of Florida.
Uh
Like
huh.
dude, like he is gonna win in a fucking landslide in Florida. Like they love him there.
Right.
And I dig him. I think he's all right. He's got some things I don't like, but for the most part, I dig him. I dig him a lot. I like how he actually stands up to corporations like Disney and shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think
and
that I
all
got to
that
do more
stuff.
research on the guy because I've only known let's put it this way, I only know him from the past 2 years. I don't know him from anything before that. So he could have been somebody I really hated. You know what I mean?
He he's a guy he's a guy who's a little similar to Trump, but also he's not he doesn't pull punches. Like Trump pulled punches. Let's be real.
Mm,
Like he complained about the whole like internet censorship and all this shit like that, and he could have fixed that in a second.
right.
He could have taken away their fucking protections. I think it's like 320 or something like that. Where like they consider like Facebook, Twitter, like platforms, not publishers.
Mm-hmm.
He could have taken that away from them like that. It doesn't take that fucking act of Congress. It's just him signing a thing and it's
Mm-hmm.
over because it's the FCC that decides that. So he could have ended that shit right away, and he didn't. He just wanted to complain about
Right.
it. Where DeSantis does, I mean, he had a DA in I think Tampa. This is recently, and it was one of those woke DAs who's like not gonna fucking press charges against like rioters and not fucking press charges against teachers that are grooming kids or because the whole that the bill they had where like teachers can't fucking I don't want to call it what everyone else calls it because that's fucking it's not what it is.
Right.
But it's basically it's the bill that tells teachers just teach your class and shut the fuck up.
Right.
Don't don't try and bring these kids into your world. That's not your job. Teach them what they got to know. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. But anyway, there's this fucking DA in Tampa was like just doing his own thing, like a super woke left wing guy.
Mm-hmm.
And DeSantis got sick of it and was like, you know what? Guess what? You're fucking fired. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
And he
They did
fired
that
him.
in San Francisco too. They I think they had a referendum or
They,
something like that, but they fired the DA.
they recalled that guy. They didn't fire him. They recalled him.
Oh yeah.
That's
So,
different. But no, DeSantis like suspended him,
but
and
isn't that
he's
really
never gonna.
strange? Like how people are like, you would think, oh, they got a really woke DA in San Francisco. They're not gonna. They probably love that dude. And San Francisco's like, no, no, we
No,
recalled that guy. Or let's say Kansas City. You think it's a pretty conservative state. Oh, dude, they're gonna freaking change the abortion laws, and then they voted against changing anything. They're like, no, we're not doing
well,
that. And I'm like,
the
that's
reason,
it's
yeah,
amazing where we're starting to see like just how people are kind of moving out differently than what we think. Like, oh, there's that middle of America or that middle of the road and everything that's not one way to the left or one way to the right. They're starting to get their voices heard. It's
I think a
interesting.
lot of people too. A lot of people don't want to be told what the fuck to do
That's generally how it goes,
on
right?
on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides. I bet you in that Kansas thing, there was a lot of fucking Republicans who voted no on the abortion ban.
Yeah.
I bet you there's a shitload of them, like people our age,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about. I mean, yeah, I don't like abortion. Then again, that's just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You do whatever the fuck you feel like you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you got to live with it, not me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. And I think that's how a lot of people on the Republican side that are my age or younger look at it too. It's not the old school like this is why I didn't like the Republicans when I was growing up is because it was they always wrapped themselves around Jesus
Right.
or religion and try to like basically tell you how to live your life. You know, with like the no swearing in the music and all that shit. Remember that?
Right. No,
Yeah,
the 80s, the
yeah.
PMRC, man, they were like, we need to make sure that the music that the children are listening to this day, they are not influenced by Satan or just sexual deviancy, trying to lure them away from a good Christian life. And it sounds like I'm making fun of what is, but this is exactly what they sounded
Yeah.
like, guys. But hey, guys, before we continue on and stuff, we're gonna have to. I gotta reset the Zoom because I'm too cheap to pay for this thing. So in the meantime, I'm gonna play a video while I reset the Zoom real quick. So for the folks who are watching on Twitch, or the one dude that was watching and wanted us to play a song, and then we said no, they can check this out. So here we go. We'll be right back in a moment, guys. Hey everybody, this is another video for the Mansplaining Show with Jake and Dave. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
Hey guys, today's our video, it's going to be about something that every guy should be able to know how to do. Ladies, if you want to take part in this too, you're more than welcome to. It's about how to change your oil. Alright, first thing we got to do is got to make sure you got your sleeveless shirt, your farmer's tan, your douchey hat. Do you got tools? We don't need them anyway, so it doesn't matter. We'll figure out how to do this together.
Hands.
Exactly, man hands.
Yes.
Bam.
So first thing you got to do is just check the oil and make sure that it is, in fact, changeable, if you will.
Okay.
So you check the dipstick.
All right.
Right,
That's the one that comes out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So you take it.
Uh-huh. And I heard that you need to taste the oil to make sure that that if it's good or bad or not.
That's only in European automobiles. This is a Korean car, so
okay, all right.
You don't have to do that now.
I don't.
You do not. You
Dude,
just,
okay, Drew, if you're listening, you're a fucking dick, man. I've been tasting oil for years because of you, asshole.
Yeah. You just give it a sniff. Ah, yes, it smells a lot like it's been through a lot of drive-thrus.
Okay.
It's also some midnight rest stops.
All right.
And let's see here. It says, hold on, wait. And is that dispensaries?
Okay.
Yes.
You can spell that funk on it.
Yeah, because it's like an ice core from when you try to see what climate change is doing.
Right.
Oil's the same way. It will tell you everything where this car has been.
Nice.
So, but at the moment it looks a little brown. Which
is that normal for oil?
I mean, if you don't want to be racist, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See, that's really good because I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to change their oil who don't want to be racist.
Yes.
And I think that's important for them to learn.
Yes. And in fact, the blacker the better.
Okay.
For the oil.
Right.
The blacker the better. In fact, if you have clear oil in there, then you're like a white supremacist. I mean,
fair enough.
Which / you've been using baby oil as your oil. So to each their own. To each their own.
Right. Made from real babies.
Yes. You guys didn't know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can buy that shit off of Infowars.com, by the way. A lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
It says food bucket, but really you're buying baby oil made from real babies.
Real vitality and baby oil.
Exactly.
And you look over the engine and you go, yeah, you're an engine. And then you're done.
Nice.
Well, when you're done with this part, you have to go underneath and then take a whole bunch of stuff apart and then put it all back together again, and you're good to go.
All right. All right, guys. Now the next step, I'm going to show you what needs to be done if you're the helper, the assistant, the wingman, the best man, the groomsman of an oil change. So pay close attention. How's it going under there, man?
It's going. So in the first step of changing your own oil, it's a little lesson I was taught by my dad is to swear a lot.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yes. Like for instance, I'm trying to unscrew this bolt right here. Instead of just going, oh darn, it won't come off.
Right.
What you have to do is go, you cocksucking fuck, you piece of shit asshole, fuck you bastard, you shithead.
Right.
Come off, you fuck, fuck your mother, you bastard. Now, if you say all those things, what it does is the nut then gets scared, and it will come off.
Okay. Which nut are you trying to get off right now?
Honestly, I'm just randomly pulling nuts off the car until oil comes out.
So you're just trying to get as many nuts off as possible is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's good news, man. You're doing great. I'm here if you need emotional support or if you don't need to cry, do you?
No.
Okay,
no.
good. Well, I'm here for you if you need to cry as long as you don't actually have to. And
there's honestly no room down here to cry.
okay, nice. All right, so now you say you need to get the bolt off, right? Do you need any kind of music for that?
Yes. What you need is some Christian rock music.
Christian rock?
the reason why, now this is very important. The reason why is because with Christian rock, nobody wants to be around it, even the Bulls.
Nice.
So they'll just want to come off because they don't want to be hearing Jesus rock. They're just not fans of it. So,
Fair enough.
Yes.
Nothing. As a matter of fact, if you play it for too long, your entire car will become sentient and actually leave you.
Yes.
There you go.
You will literally drive away like a Tesla.
Like a super woke Tesla, it will drive itself away from you.
Yeah.
It'll go straight to Burning Man, and you're never gonna find it again.
Exactly.
Okay. Hey, did you get an oil pan?
Oh, no. No.
So this comes to the second part of, in case you forget to put the oil pan underneath the oil drain, you start looking for a new place to live, is what you do.
Yes.
All right? So you were thinking about leaving this place anyway, so this is probably a good, how do you do, right? This is like, hey, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice, but you just dumping a bunch of motor oil in the garage.
Yes, and make sure you do not clean it at all.
Right.
Or just pull and ruin all of the concrete below the car.
Yep, nice.
Yes.
Just to let them know that you were here. Like, you could tag the place, but come on, man, that's juvenile, that's kid stuff. You want to leave a mark, literally.
Yes,
All
that's
right.
exactly. So, what you do is you just let it all pour on the ground,
Uh-huh.
and then you put the screw back in.
Mm-hmm.
You take the oil filter off, which you have to find with your bare hands,
Right.
which is where the manliness comes in. You have to unscrew it with your bare hands.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. All right. We should probably get ready for that.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, one damn.
That was good. That was good.
Oh,
Right? You can like, feel the fucking bro it is, right?
yeah. Oh, hi.
Oh.
Hi guys.
Hey, guys. We're getting ready for the next phase of the oil change.
And the most important phase of it that they don't teach you in the books of learning
Right.
is that while the oil is maturing, because you let them, as you put the new oil, it's got to be so. But to enhance the maturing of the oil, you have to watch Joe Rogan highlights.
Right. Especially reactions to him with knockouts and stuff.
Yeah, it actually makes the oil more viscous. That's the word. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
word.
it does that.
Picture perfect left hand to the chin on the brake. Let's take a look
Yeah.
again.
Ooh.
Right?
Yes.
See, he's right. When he knocks people out, like Joe Rogan's like, dude, that dude's knocked out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, he knows.
For the channel open by unanimous decision, but you gotta be careful hanging out.
Now, if you we bought Valvoline oil, which is the manliest.
Oh, gee, right?
Yeah. So you have to watch these.
You have to.
Yes.
Sometimes, like, listen, if you don't have to get Valvoline. It's a free country.
Yes.
Right? You can get whatever kind, even if it's not as manly as Valvoline, right?
Yes, yes.
The thing is, you got to watch if you're going to do that, you not only do you have to watch Joe Rogan, you also have to watch Guy Ritchie
Yes.
and the first act of Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare.
All while smoking a cigarette.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Now, if you buy castor oil with that recycled one,
Right?
for that to work, you have to then listen to nothing but Mark Maron WTF podcasts and drink a soy milkshake. So, and that will do the same thing, but just on a different spectrum.
It's just on a different level. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
No judging.
Yeah, no judging.
No judging.
We're good, right?
Yes.
We're good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure we're good.
So, now that you've taken out the oil, you have to then go, well, how do I put the new oil in?
All right. So we got to figure out where. All right. So where would you put it? Would you put it in here? Is this where the oil goes, right? Because it's got a blue cap and everything. Is that?
No.
No. All right. Would it be here? Do you put the oil here? No.
Let me check.
All right.
Let me see. No. That's just, no.
Okay, not there. All right. Here, that's a circle right there. I could see it, man. Is that where we put the oil in?
Unfortunately, no.
No, okay.
Everyone knows. This is where your brake fluid goes.
Fair enough.
So,
okay, duh.
yeah,
All right.
I mean-
That's why we do these videos, guys.
Yeah.
We got to learn.
Because we want to teach you how to do this properly.
Right.
That's right. So, after you've looked around the car for give or take an hour,
Right.
You then finally come upon this, and you're like, "Oh, whoa! It says C owner manual."
All right.
That means oil.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that or not. Whenever you see the word seat owner manual, just put oil in it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, this is where it goes.
Uh-huh.
You then take the cap off.
Right.
Ugh. Hold on. Good. Oh, I think I shit myself. No, I'm good.
Okay, good. All
You
right.
take the oil off, and then you go, oh, see, brown, see?
Okay.
Brown is good.
Right.
So then you go, this is where oil goes.
Right.
So you put, what year is this car? 2018?
Mm-hmm.
You want to put exactly 2018 liters inside of this.
Nice.
Yes. You always want to, it's the year of the car. Always put a liter for every year the car is old. So, or the year it was made. So 2018, 2018 liters.
It's so simple.
Yes, that's why
So-
back in the olden days, when it was like, like the old Ford, whatever those old,
Model T.
Yeah, Model Ts. They were made in 1910. You
Mm-hmm.
would put 1,910 liters of oil in it.
Henry Ford just kind of spelled it out there for everybody. So
Yeah.
it's so simple.
Yes.
All right.
And that's how you change your oil. God damn it. Fuck.
Oh my god, that was freaking hilarious. Hold on. Freaking. I forgot it to reset the window capture. Give me just a moment. Zoom meeting. That's what I wanted to change to. Zoom meeting. And it hasn't yet. Oh, that's weird. Come on. You know, it's funny. It's like I forgot how much fun we had making that thing.
That was a lot of fun. I remember that day. That was a fun video.
I know. I miss doing videos and stuff. I wrote up a script. I might just do an audio version, just do it myself. But it's just like I kept thinking of like every time I go to a drive-through, and I'm like, hello. Hey, how's it going there? Yeah, hello. Hi. It's right if I order. Hello. I'm here. Hold on, somebody's in the drive-through. Hello. I'm like, God damn it. Are you, hi, are we listening? Are you talking to me? Like, yeah. Are you ready to order? Yeah, can I get a, hello? God damn it. Like, it's just this whole idea, because I think this dude is completely just baked out of his mind, and he's trying to talk to his friend on his phone, but he's at the drive-through. And so it's like, oh, the idea was like, well, who am I talking to? Am I talking to the guy who's trying to order, or is it whatever? But either way, hey, you know what? Mustafa Zaniak came back to actually comment on the video, and so we appreciate that. Thanks for. He was the one guy watching for the short time. I think he's gone.
I think the car was broken.
Yeah. For the folks who were actually listening live and stuff, I didn't put that sketch actually on audio. So, free sketch for you guys. You're ahead of the game already if you're listening this week. So congratulations. Man, what was the other thing that was driving me nuts that people were going freaking, so it's kind of like, I understand the reason why they're cheering for a person's demise. Like, I get it. It's not like I would ever go like, seriously, you hate Alex Jones? Like, dude, I get the reason why you would hate Alex Jones. I am not a fan of his. I actually, as much as I love Rogan's podcast, if he's on it, I might be able to listen to 10, 15 minutes of it. Maybe. But the moment he starts screaming and he gets so fucking crazy and manic, I'm like, dude, I can't do it. I don't care if this guy's got the cure for cancer. Actually, maybe I do care if he has a cure for cancer. But
yeah, you would probably want to know.
I'm like,
that.
shit. I would listen to it, but it would be very tough. Like, I would probably end up getting more cancer just by listening to this guy talk about the cure for cancer. But so, like, I get it. Or like when Trump gets in legal trouble and legal or whatever, I understand for the people who friggin' hate Trump, and I know there's reasons to hate him. You know what I mean? But I'm like, so the FBI thought it would be a good idea to I don't know why they didn't subpoena and just say, hey, we need all that stuff back. Like, I'm curious. I haven't heard that argument yet, where they said, hey, dude, you need to give all those classified materials back. You can't keep it. You know what I mean? And rather than just saying, hey, we're just going to have a big raid down there. And I guess what I was listening to Crystal and Sagar that there were some people from the FBI that said we thought that this would be the better way to go and cause less of a dust up if he wasn't there. So that way he couldn't grandstand or something. And like, do you honestly think that Donald Trump is not going to use an event like this to his advantage in some way in the public? A guy that is very, even no matter how many times you ban him off of stuff, he still finds a way to reach just as many people, whether he's on your platform or not. And they're like, whoops, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. It was it was bad.
It was just it's pure arrogance. Like they honestly think that like people were going to be cool with this, and I think what it was is, and especially the fact that like they didn't do their whole reasoning was because they needed some paperwork from like the Bureau of Archives or, and it wasn't anything crazy. It was like all just a bunch of like stupid shit that like that was classified, but like he was the president. He could have easily, before he left, just said this is unclassified now and just took it with him.
Right, but there's a process that he had to do and he didn't do it. And I
Maybe.
wonder if how many other other presidents have done that and they just taken shit with them. You know what I mean?
But like the one thing that's been really bothering me the past 4 years, if not longer, is that there's a segment of this population who are okay with selling their souls in order to stop a guy.
Yeah.
And it can be Trump, Alex Jones, doesn't matter. They will sell out their convictions just to stop a dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's fucked up. In my opinion, that's fucked up. Because like the First Amendment thing, when anyone says you're hiding behind it, first of all, go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a thing. Hiding behind the First Amendment is not a thing. It's there for a reason. If you look at any other country, even the developed ones like your Australias, your Canadas, your New Zealands, and all that, England, like you don't have freedom of speech like we have it.
Right.
You know, you just don't. We do. You don't have cops showing up to your house because you made a spicy Facebook post. You don't have that. You know.
Yet.
Yet. That's the thing. Yet, but some of these people want that. But what they're not understanding, and I don't know why they can't see the forest through the fucking trees, is that you're doing this now because your guy's in charge. What's gonna happen when some charismatic as fuck, super duper right wing fucking dude comes in and just starts really being fascistic about everything?
Oh, you mentioned it once before. Remember, like, there was a lot of people throwing their like, were up in arms and stuff during George Bush, W. Bush, after 9/11, and we started trampling over the Bill of Rights and all this other stuff on a weekly basis. There's another right that you don't have anymore, another protection that's gone. Search and seizure, you know, privacy, right to privacy, all this other stuff. That shit just kept going and going and going. So for the liberals of the time, and I considered myself one of them, we're pissed off and we're bitching and we're screaming and we're like, you can't do that. This is illegal. All this other stuff. They're trying to find ways to stop it. And the Republicans at the time, and then keep in mind I was living in Arizona, so I'm not going to say all Republicans, but there was a lot of them like, hey, if you don't like it, then get out. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of what the sentiment was. Then Obama gets elected, and then suddenly it was the right. They're like, oh my God, he's overstepping his powers as, you know, the executive branch and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you freaking were fine with this when W was in power. And the moment somebody, just exactly like you said, the moment somebody who you don't agree with gets in power, you're like, wait a second, why does this guy have so much power? Because you gave it to the last guy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's the whole vampire analogy. Like a vampire just can't come into your house. He has to be invited in. And that's what these people are doing. They're inviting a vampire.
Right.
And then once they're in, you're fucked. You're fucked. Yeah, they might get the guy that you want to get now, but what's going to happen in like 4, 5, 10 years?
Right. At some point, it's going to bite you in the ass. So.
But then it's going to bite everyone in the ass. That's the problem.
Yeah. Like, so the reason why I always say it's important, like, that we always keep it to be able to push against the grain. And I was thinking about this in terms of like what they call safe spaces and stuff. And I think, you know, I'm not one of those guys that say there should never be any safe spaces and stuff. I think your home should be a safe space. I think your workplace should be a safe space. You shouldn't have to listen to your fucking crazy, wacko fucking coworker, you know, slam shit around in the cooler.
That guy, what an asshole that guy is.
Yeah, I know, what a dick. That should be, I mean, you should be free from harassment and all that other stuff like that, ideally, and unless that's how you guys have fun. in your workplace and stuff, right? The stage, as it relates to whether it's comedy or theater and everything like that, that is not a safe space. That has never been a safe space. As a matter of fact, it's been the most dangerous place for anybody to occupy. Now, when I say this, I remember what the general mood was towards, let's say, the LGBT community back in the 80s.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. There's a lot of movies, a lot of teen movies and stuff where you see a lot of jocks and bros calling the nerdy kid, I'll just say the F word on Twitch. But it's 3 letters, and it could be really hurtful, and it could also be very funny depending on how you use it.
I know, right?
Right? Let's be honest, right? But the thing is that you could bash a gay person in a movie or something, even in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There's kind of a little bit of a I'm not going to let this guy talk to me this way, this freaking Studi guy, or, over in the restaurant scene.
Yeah.
So that was acceptable across the board. And I know if somebody like it was never acceptable. Yes, it was, because this is how people thought about shit. Hey, how did we feel about this yesterday? Oh, we didn't like it? Okay, I'm not going to like it again today. I'm just going to do what everybody else did. You know what I mean? It wasn't until things started to turn around in the 90s, and I always say that Seinfeld episode, the whole, not that there's anything wrong with it, because that was the joke. The running gag throughout the whole thing is that they didn't say that this guy was gay. They would just say, like, not that there's anything wrong with that. And then everybody else kept saying, yeah, exactly. And then everybody across, because they love Seinfeld, they're saying, not that there's anything wrong with that. And then they started thinking, yeah, there's really nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Why was I doing this? You know what I mean? So when they wrote Angels in America, which I believe is a story about, like, homosexuality and AIDS and stuff like that during the AIDS crisis. Do you honestly think there was a bunch of theaters or they were like, yeah, we can't wait to put that on there and get the general scrutiny of the public? It took a lot of balls in order to even write that and workshop that stuff, because there were still, like, keep it imagine, guys, at one point there were people who weren't saying that they were gay who worked and lived on Broadway in musicals, who were very obviously homosexual, but they would never say it because why? It could hurt their career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way shit was way back when. And the stage has always been a dangerous place to put ideas. It's a dangerous place to say, hey, this is what society is, but this is also another part that you guys have been fucking missing. Look at these people who are suffering. Look at this. You know what I mean? And so, when it comes to, like, censorship, and I wrote a blog about this on my page because I was it was an episode of Joe Rogan where he had these 2 guys from the UK who have their own podcast, and they were talking about how much censorship is in the UK comedy scene, how it's a tight, knit group, and there's these gatekeepers. If you're even close to being conservative, you're not going to be able to get up, you know what I mean, or they'll just push you out. And I know a couple people in the UK comedy scene, so I asked one of them, hey, do you know these guys? And one of them said, yeah, that dude's kind of a prick. He's a condescending asshole, and nobody likes to work with him. And he's like, he'll say that it's about his political views. It's because he's a jerk, and he just looks down on everybody. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I figured. But it got me thinking about the whole idea of, like, oh, why should I even try to get my stuff out there into the comedy scene, because they're just going to either blackball me or they're going to censor me. And I'm like, well, what an interesting way to give up without even trying. Interesting, Dave. You know what I mean? And by the way, when folks say, well, there's these gatekeepers, guess what? There's always been gatekeepers. You know what they're called? The owners of the theater.
Yeah.
All right? Showbiz will always generally want to make what is the easiest amount of money that's the most amount of money, right? Which is generally why middle of the road type of entertainment that's not going to be too edgy but not too soft tends to do better, because whatever could reach the most, that's easier thing. I mean, with showbiz, it's about getting in asses in seats, right? However, there's also going to be, like, people who are masters of the craft that really push the envelope, like your George Carlins, like your Richard Pryors. I'll just use those 2 guys. Do you honestly think in a time when they were doing stand-up shows and all the theater owners are like, hey, man, everybody's having a good time, hey, we're gonna let this African American comedian who likes to make fun of white people, drops the N-bomb all the time, and tells these deep personal stories. And I'm like, well, no, I want Rodney Dangerfield. I want somebody else, or whatever the hot comics were at that time. You know what I mean? Like, no, but the person who was willing to take the chance, the person who was the outlier, who showed that their stuff was worth it, then eventually they became the mainstream. George Carlin, do you want a guy that's going to talk shit about the government and about society and all this other stuff? And then, like, no, it sounds like he's going to upset a lot of people. Why don't I just have, whatever generic comic A, B, or C? And I know that we're going to make a certain amount of money. But it takes those guys to push the envelope, to push the barrier, but always keep in mind that the stage, even though it's not a safe space, they're always going to be timid, and that's never going to change. You know what I mean? And you just have to be able to understand that, and understand that that's going to be part of the obstacles. And that's what I told myself, where I'm like, I just got to keep fucking working this. Like, if they don't think my shit's funny and I believe in it, I got to go back and work at it until it's undeniable.
Yeah.
Because if it's undeniable, somebody's going to be like, dude, I think I could sell 300 seats if I have you on my show.
Yeah.
Fucking come on. Let's do it. But
like I understand gatekeeping in a way. Like like the way you present it makes sense.
mm-hmm.
Right. I get that. Because you just don't want any fucking asshole going up there and ruining your whole show because
Totally.
they want to be edgy. They want to be like Mr. Bill Hicks or some shit. Because that's the one thing I see a lot of comics do, that a lot of male comics do, is like they'll want to imitate like Bill Hicks. You can't. That guy was one of one. You're not gonna do it. You're just not gonna do it. You can admire him. You can be like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But for you to like model your shit after him is a terrible idea.
It's when you try to be Bill Hicks, it's like I always say, like the music equivalent. You think you're being Jello Biafra of the Dead Kennedys, but really you're being Christian heavy metal.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it till you get off stage and you're like, shit, I was just trying to give a TED talk, wasn't I? I'm like, yeah, you were.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good. Was it? It was horrible.
What I can't stand is the people who gatekeep, who have no business doing it.
There's that.
I mean?
And my thing is go to their competition and make their competition successful.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like there's like these mediocre comics that fucking do this shit. Like Christy Buku does it all the fucking time. I know I shouldn't be fucking name dropping, but that's just how it is. She's not very good, but she just knows how to work the system. She knows who to talk to. She knows who to get with. She knows whatever. But like, if she doesn't like you, she'll fucking send her minions out to fuck with you.
They can give it a shot. I can guarantee I'm way more meaner and vicious than anybody is. But nobody's done that.
On a one-on-one, yeah. But I'm talking like, the thing is, you don't see it coming. Because I had it happen to me.
Oh.
Her, I did like twice, right? And that's just what they do. But the problem is, it's like, yeah, that sucks for you, and I was pissed off about it. But yet, I ain't the only one they fucking ever did it to.
Yeah.
Secondly, it just makes your scene suck.
Yeah.
It makes your scene suck when you have basically a bunch of fucking like little fucking like minions running around that are fucking connected to like one of the big names in town, and any comic who actually has worth a fuck at what they're doing, and they're just starting out, they're gonna make sure they get on no big fucking Denver shows. Nothing ever written in the Westward. You're not getting on any of those fucking shows. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just gonna be doing bar gigs and shit, like in the outskirts of town, which is fine. I'm not shitting on those shows.
I think that's what you have to do.
That's my shit. What's that?
Like, okay, so if somebody says you can't get on the big shows or whatever, that okay, cool. Have you hit up the shows in Fort Collins or Colorado Springs? Because there's way more money you can make up. I've made more money outside of Denver than I ever have inside of Denver. Right?
Oh yeah, me too.
And the whole thing is it like being undeniable. I always think, okay, what's a comic that I always consider as undeniable? Jeff Nelson.
He's great.
Jeff Nelson will friggin' hit jokes or punchlines that are so deep and dark but so hilarious, you know, and it's just fucking beautiful. So that dude, let's say if they were trying to, we're going to keep him out of the best shows. Like, dude, there's only so many times that guy is going to, he crushes every single time that he goes up. At some point, he's undeniable. They're like, well, why don't you have this guy on your show? Why are you being, I mean, eventually some people, it's, the cream always rises to the top, and eventually everybody figures out that, like, wait a second, you have the same people on your shows all the time, and it's kind of funny, but I feel like I'm doing more emotional support than being an audience member who came in there to be entertained.
Oh, I
You
hate
know,
that shit
so
too, but yeah.
I think the best thing you could to do, what I tell myself anyways, is that I'm going to try to be as funny as I possibly can. I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can. And anybody who thinks that who doesn't agree necessarily with my point of view, or maybe I said something on a podcast that they didn't agree with, and like, oh, we're going to axe them off of this, whatever. Okay, you go ahead and try that.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, I'm funnier than you are, and I can entertain more people than you can, and that means more to showrunners than your opinion. And that's the only way. But the only way that works is if I'm working as hard as being as best as I possibly can. You know what I mean? Like, so rather, I'm trying not to use the whole idea of cancel culture as an excuse to not create, because I think I was doing that. You know what I mean? I wasn't writing enough. I wasn't performing enough. I wasn't doing this. And this whole idea with getting the medical issues and the prognosis and all that other stuff, it really brought things like, hey, Dave, if you only got, let's say if you only have 5 years left, do you really want to spend 4.5 of this talking about how you could have been something and how you could have done things, or do you want to actually go out there and fucking get the shit done?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know?
That's a good way to look at it. And I'm not saying
With
like
spite.
I'm not saying that there's certain people that didn't allow me to do whatever I could do.
Right, but there was a lot of shit. There was like the post Me Too Denver comedy scene was way different than the. By the way, I will say this though, how many people from that whole who were the loudest back then during the post or the Me Too era of Denver comedy, how many of them are still working? Because I don't see a lot of them. I see one or two of them. Guess what? They're no better off than they were before. They're still doing the same shit that they were doing before, you know, which is good. They still got their show or two, but the whole idea is that they're not like Zach Moss fucking isn't a local comic anymore. That guy tours now.
Yeah.
You know, not that he was part of the shitstorm back then, but the thing is that he moved up, he moved on, and he's not looking back. You know what I mean? The other folks who were super vocal, they're still here in town bitching about the same shit, kind of like I am. But I don't plan on being like, now that I've got this fire under my ass, I'm like, yeah, I don't plan on sticking around this town for like 2 years and stuff and just being like, oh man, I wish I can get a spot. Speaking of which, I just got a spot at Max Lime Brewery on September 15th, I believe.
Very nice.
While we were talking. September 24th, Max Lime Brewery up in Fort Collins, Colorado. Guys, come check me out. It's going to be an awesome show. Great brews. Jacob Urban runs this room, and it's he runs good shows. He's
Yes, he does.
yeah,
Yes, he does.
exactly. So it's going to be freaking awesome.
He is one of my favorite people in that whole city. Actually, probably in the whole scene of in all of Colorado.
Right.
He was one of the guys that used to give me major stage time on good shows when I first started going up there. And he was one of the he would put me on show he put me on a lot of shows that I would have never gotten on in Denver and stuff with people like, you know what I'm saying?
He's a fan of authentic comedy. That's what I like about Jake Birdman, is that he's a fan of people who are themselves and go up there and take chances, you know, which is something like as a comic, you really appreciate that. He's never once said, hey, dude, do me a favor, kind of tone down on this joke or that joke and stuff. He never did that. Never did that. But, yeah, I think that's the only thing I had to get off of my chest, man. I know we're at an hour already, so this has been a fun episode, even though like 13 minutes of that was that sketch, but still, you know what I mean?
Hey, no, that sketch is funny.
Yeah. I mean, we only showed that once. I think we should be able to get a little bit more mileage out of that sketch, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But so guys, let's see. I have a few. I just have the website to plug. If you guys haven't been to it, if you're ever thinking about doing comedy in Colorado, go to CO Open Mics. That's CO as in abbreviations for Colorado. CO openmics.com, and there you can see all the open mics that are from anywhere from Fort Collins all the way down to Colorado Springs, up and down I-25 to the left and the right of it. Guys, I suggest you use this site not just because I get ad revenue and your personal information for it, and I get to like spy on you, but the more mics you go to, the different rooms that you go to, the better your comedy is going to be. The more challenges that you put in front of yourself, the more opportunity you have to get better. So I made that list because the other list, which is a fine list, but it wasn't getting updated regularly, and I knew there was mics missing. So I'm like, fuck it, I can do it quicker and better, And you don't have to pay me anything if you want to be on it. You don't have to do me any special favors. You don't have to kiss my ring. All you got to do is have an open mic. Let me know about it, and I'll put it on there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just be consistent with it and give a shit about it, and that's the only thing I care about. So that's the only thing I have to plug. I already plugged Max Line Brewery. So is there anything else we want to plug?
Well, hopefully. I mean, I'm hitting my first open mic on Saturday.
Nice.
I'm gonna go to that one. It's a PG-13 rated one. We'll see how
Right.
that goes. Guys should be fine. I'm vulgar. I'm not dirty. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Do you remember, like, what was it, the current open mic list for Phoenix now? How it was. I thought it was funny how that guy switched his whole style of how he did his list.
Yeah.
Because he updated it and he's took out all the fucking, like, the bullshit that he had in there where he was trying to be funny and just started putting the information of the mics on. I'm like,
that's all you need.
that's all you need. Because basically what I'm going to say this. He saw the list because I tried doing that for Phoenix and people started to use my list. And he's like, wait a second, I'm the fucking open mic list. I'm like, great, then update it.
Yeah.
Then do some shit with it. And then suddenly, like he did, I'm like, great, you know what? And I don't have the Phoenix list anymore just because I could barely keep up with the Denver list. You know what I mean? So I took it off. But if they ever start slipping, let me know. I'll put the list back up there for people. Because I think...
No, I'm a part of those groups, those Arizona Phoenix comic groups.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, it because, like, dude, it changes a lot because we just lost a couple of mics that they just ended.
Yeah.
Like there's a Spanglish one that ended. It was on Friday nights. I never went to it.
That was a bad idea.
Spanglish?
No, on a mic on a Friday night. Fridays and
Yeah.
Saturdays are for showcases, guys.
Yeah.
Fridays and Saturdays are for showcase comedy. That's the best night. That's when everybody's going to go out and they're going to spend money. That's business-wise. You want to put your best foot forward. You're not going to fucking have somebody go out there and let me try some shit out on a Friday night in a full brewery. That's stupid. It's stupid, and you're stupid for doing it. If you do it, you should be slapped in front of that big crowd for, like, how dare you waste our time with this bullshit. Get a showcase if you're going to get a Friday or Saturday night show. That's what I think. Or unless it's like during the daytime.
Yeah.
You know, which I've seen a couple of mics there. We're at a coffee shop. We're going to do comedy open mic at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to work either. But hey, you're welcome to try. Who knows?
Yeah. You know,
enjoy all the 30 people, the theater people doing wordplay.
I've done those before.
Yeah, me too. Look at Strange Grounds was still a fun mic. That started at 5:30 during the daytime. That was great.
Yeah. I love it.
But yeah, either way, if that Phoenix list ever falls off again, let me know and I'll fucking put my list back up there. It'd be like, because I think every scene should have at least a couple of websites or open mic list that you could just look at. Oh, it's Tuesday. Here it is. Where's the venue? Press on the address link of it, and it takes you right to Google Maps. That's what my website does. Yeah. And it just goes, great, here you go. Fucking go to it. You know what I mean? And, like, nobody's going to get rich off of this, but, you know. I did find a way that I started putting ads in between the days, between, like, Thursday, and so it makes it easier, actually, when you're scrolling. I mean, you look at more ads, but the whole idea is that there's, that Monday's over, now here's Tuesday. Oh, look, and it just kind of puts a break between it, but... Yeah, either way, I'd like to think that I helped encourage the new and improved Phoenix open mic list. Just by showing a little bit of competition, and that guy stepped up, and he did a better job than my list. His actually does look a lot nicer than mine, so... But I just think, mine's better. Anyway. Signing off for Mansplaining, I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
Y'all have a great week, guys. Adios.
Yeah. Lift heavy.